Yo, 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 welcome back to the Hulaham Hour. Kurtis and Nick at your service. And apparently, I owe Nick lobster money. What's up, Nick?
I'll be waiting for that lobster money. You got a couple days left. You're really going to owe me some money.
Amen, dude. We are broadcasting live here from Las Vegas. Let's kick it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is June 4th, 2025. This is episode, I do not remember, 27, 28, something like that. Welcome back. Nick, how's it going this week, brother?
Man, great. With how long that intro is, I forgot I could have took a piss.
Oh, love it, love it, love it. All right, I was going to try to keep this episode a little shorter than normal just because of circumstances out here, out west for work and stuff. But there's just been so much shit that happened this week, bro. This was a really, really, really busy week of sports. So I guess we'll just get started. I'm going to start off with one of the Lions headlines. I think we're all very saddened to hear this. But Mr. Frank Ragnow has announced his retirement after only 7 seasons. Nick, give me your take on Mr. Ragnow.
It's really sad to see your play caller, your center, retire. But at the same time, the way them guys hit each other, it just shows you how much more respect for like a Joe Thomas type, or somebody who's been around for 20 years.
Yeah, it's very true. However, 7 seasons, I understand the average NFL career is only like 4, However, I personally feel like he's going to pull a Gronk. And remember when Gronk was supposedly traded to the Detroit Lions, he decided to tell the New England Patriots that he was retiring, so they couldn't trade him. And then he ended up just coming back and playing with the Patriots again anyways. So, because the rumor mill has it that the reason that, one of the things is that they didn't want to rework his contract. And when that is one of the main headlines for this whole situation, that's telling me that my easy out's just to retire and then unretire and sign with another team. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think it's quite like that with him. I really don't. I think the articles I read, he's just got nothing left to give.
Which is, it's sad. I wish him the best. I hope he doesn't do that. I really just, for the love of the game and the sake of, the person that I think he is off the field too. I hope he didn't do that to us. That would be a real low blow.
And you never know, give a guy a year off. Maybe he feels a little better. Maybe he thinks about coming back.
Yeah, but look at Jimmy Graham, dude. Jimmy Graham retired and then came back to New Orleans, and then the city swallowed him whole because he got caught high on drugs with prostitutes or something crazy like that. And then his career, they're like, yeah, we're just gonna cut you, dude. But yeah, I don't know, man. I like I said, I don't want to think that, but I guess just in the back of my head, he hasn't played long. I mean, centers. How long did Jason Kelce play for?
Oh, I'm not sure on that.
I think he played at least double digit.
I think he played at least 15 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I don't know, man. It's a tough pill to swallow. You hate to lose any of your veteran players that have been with you for a long time. But Mr. Ragnow, no matter what happens, I wish you the best. But I hope if you're going to come back and play for any team, that it's here in Detroit. So yeah, okay. Like I said, we got a lot on the block. But again, I feel like they're kind of just pulling headlines because I think we've all known Kirk Cousins has been kind of in this purgatory of shit. But everything's pointing to that he's going to be traded at some point before it's too late or whatever. However, when, where, how, and why do you think he's going to go, Nick?
Steelers, and why? Because they're going to get sick of finally waiting on Rodgers, hopefully. I hope once mandatory training camp hits, I hope they do, but I don't think they will.
Can you say that again? Because it's like music to my ears. Oh, my God.
Because they also talked about him going back to Minnesota, too.
God, that would.
JJ, you still don't know how he's going to pan out.
Yeah,
And he already knows the Minnesota offense.
yeah, it's true. They haven't changed. They haven't even changed. They definitely, obviously, it's still the same coach, O'Connell.
Yeah,
But
Kevin O'Connell is definitely, he's an offensive guru.
yeah, so it would. He's in such a weird situation. I just hope he ends up in Pittsburgh for the sake of that. Like you said, I don't want to see Aaron Rodgers. I think everybody in Pittsburgh. I think we made it very blatantly clear last week in the episode too that everybody in Pittsburgh is sick of waiting on him. And even if they do bring him in, he's just going to be hated. Like, he's going to be booed when he comes out of the tunnel. He's going to be booed when he goes 3-12 in his first 15 starts and gets benched for Howard in the last shit cleanup. And then Mike Tomlin's going to get Aaron Rodgers again coming to the Pittsburgh Steelers will be the demise of Mike Tomlin's time in Pittsburgh if they make that happen. If they make Kirk Cousins happen and the same thing happens, I don't think that because Kirk Cousins doesn't bring that drama that Aaron Rodgers does, I don't see, even if Mike Tomlin does have a losing season, that they let him go. But if he brings Aaron Rodgers in, the expectations are going to be a lot higher, and I just don't see it panning out well. I just really don't. So.
And the biggest thing I think I see for Kirk Cousins is he still wants to go somewhere and start. And Pittsburgh's the only actual decent team left that actually needs a quarterback. Anywhere else he goes, he's going to be a backup, just like he is in Atlanta.
And I really feel like the chemistry that he built with Justin Jefferson, who I know is a completely different type of wide receiver than DK Metcalf, but the ability for him to connect with a wide receiver very quickly like that, I think he could do that with DK. And I think he really could have a really good one-off season. I really do. So, Kirky, get your shit, pack your bags, get your family in a minivan, and start heading north, brother. It ain't that far from Atlanta to Pittsburgh, trust me. Yeah. But speaking of Atlanta, Kyle Pitts is also on the trade block. What are your feelings with there?
I see he's battling a foot injury, and they don't know how long or anything like that. So that kind of hurts his trade value, but I'm not really surprised.
Yeah.
I think he's been underwhelming since they brought him in.
Yeah.
He was drafted really high, and he's a good receiver, but he can't block worth a shit.
Yeah. And I really think because he's kind of being overshadowed currently in Atlanta, that he might do like what Eric Ebron did kind of with Detroit and go someplace like when Eric Ebron left Detroit and went to Indianapolis. He had more touchdown catches that first year with Indy than he had in the first 4 years of his career with Detroit. He flopped after that, but still, sometimes it just takes a different offense and a different setting to really make things click for a player. So I'd like to see Pitts be good. I don't know where that will be, but we'll find out. So there's not even anybody that really stands out as the standout person to want him. Where could you see him fitting in at?
Well, Parmaham Jr. there just went down for Pittsburgh, so they're on the lookout for another tight end too.
You know what? That would shit, dude. I mean, to be honest, it would be good. Kirk Cousins, Pitts, they have built a relationship already. Hopefully, it's a good one.
Yeah, I don't know if they got the trade value for that one.
Who knows, man? Mike Tomlin's kind of got to lay it out all on the line here shortly. So,
what are they gonna do? See. Trade Mason Rudolph for a first-round pick?
Dude, and from what I'm understanding at OTAs, like Mason Rudolph's going off. Like he's just flat out going off. So
it's OTAs.
Doesn't matter, man. Like when you have all the confidence and you actually step up and you want to be a leader, like maybe it's Mason's time. Maybe it wasn't his time the first time around, but maybe it's his time now. I don't know. I mean, he's not a terrible player. He's just not a great one either. He's not going to lose you a game, but he's not going to win you it either. And there's Mike Tomlin's 500 record right there. So
yeah, he's already been 500 with Rudolph. That's why they need to find somebody else.
Yep, for sure.
You know, you guys haven't won a playoff game since 2016.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Well, we've made the playoffs every year.
Still, you still haven't won one. Not one.
Not a wild. You know what though? Like as a Lions fan, we never made the playoffs like ever, and then we finally do and like lose, and finally do and lose, and finally do and lose. So it's like the same. Like it's just I don't know. I'd rather just be in the playoffs. At least like we can have a conversation about the fact that we went 500. I don't know. We'll see.
All right, Nick. You guys pulling headlines.
Yeah. Amen, dude. Amen. All right, Nick. You brought up there's been some shopping for Trey Hendrickson. Fill us in, brother.
Dude, they have at least 6 teams that would be good fits. Detroit being one of them, and Washington were the two most interesting to me.
Yeah,
I
and
think
God,
Detroit has the capital to make the move. I just think they're waiting this out. I think his price goes down the longer he holds out of Cincinnati.
I agree with that. I would hate to see him go to Washington because, to be honest, that's like one key position Washington's missing, and that would make them just wild. It would. Their defense was pretty good last year without a standout player, and to have that standout player for them, I don't know, man. That would be Washington. I mean, Daniels has Washington so dangerous as it is that he almost could be in the position that Joe Burrow is in with how like he has to score 50 points a game to win. But with the defense Washington has, he doesn't have to do that. And if they got Hendrickson, dude, I don't know. That would be wild. But again, Detroit, Ford family, Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, bring Hendrickson home, baby. Like that would you would have arguably the biggest 1-2 punch in edge rushers of all time. All time. So make it happen, man. Make it happen. Do you think the same? Do you think that would be the biggest 1-2 of all time?
It would definitely be up there.
I just don't even know who else. Like it always seems like there's just one guy that's really good. There's never like two guys that both have 16 sacks.
Never.
Never. And
I don't know why.
that would totally happen with them too. It
Well,
would.
probably
They would.
because nobody can get the salary cap under control to have two of them.
Yeah, that's probably because you either got to pay Patrick Mahomes a $500 million, or yeah. So it's pretty wild, man. It's pretty wild. I don't know. There's been a lot of other NFL news going on. Just gotta look up and see. Oh boy, looks like there's a. Oh no. Looks like a Lions player. Well, Jake McQuaid. Yeah, we won't go into that. Get your shit together, Jake McQuaid. Joey Bosa is selling his home because he's now not there anymore.
Oh, is he Brad's brother off 21st Jump Street?
Oh, let's see. Yep. Players deserving a raise. Yeah. Yeah, dude. As our bottom ticker says, there is, we're at the bottom of the barrel for NFL stuff currently, and very excited. The closer that we get to August when the preseason starts, the happier that we become here on the Hulaham Hour. Let me get to my countdown here. We are 94 days from Mr. Scott Hansen gracing us with his graceful presence again, man. I'm pumped. Super, super pumped. Okay. Anything else on the NFL front this week, bro?
Not much, man.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Oh, Stefon Diggs showed up finally.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking. So, last week, and I mentioned that, maybe it was just margarita salt. Two things I did not know. One, I did not know that he actually had a bag that he handed to somebody with the stuff in it. Two, I did not know that man was dating Cardi B. And to be honest, yeah, that shit was Molly. It was not margarita salt. It was anything but. However, at the end of the day, I'm not condoning because these people need to be role models for the younger generations and things of that nature. But if they show up and perform, what does it really matter what they do behind closed doors? Now, granted, no one should have been filming that in the first place. However,
Yeah,
I just feel like
wrong people around you.
you get the wrong people around you for one, and you mentioned how that you have to know, you have to be better than that.
Yeah.
Because you are always under this microscope. But really, like if a pro look at the tight end he retired, Darren Waller. Darren Waller, he was a heroin addict, and he made a career in the NFL and is clean and shit. But let's just say he relapsed, but he still showed up on time. It still was Darren Waller. What does it matter? What does it matter?
He probably turned into a piece of shit in the locker room.
He just looks like John Cena and Ricky Stadicki when they're hiring him, and he's just literally sweating because he's just an alcoholic and he can't drink anymore.
How'd you get in such great shape, Darren?
Well, oh shit, dude. Good times. Good times. Yeah, sad to see Darren Waller. He retired last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they who do the Raiders have now? Who is it that they drafted that's killing
Brock.
it? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so
Brock
they
Bowers.
didn't even skip a beat, man. They like to go
They
from great tight
upgraded.
end to great tight end like that. That's insane. So kudos to the Raiders being out here. People are excited, man. People are excited for Raiders football this year. They are excited for Pete Carroll. They are excited for Geno Smith. They have, I mean, Vegas has always been a ride or die city for anything. So for them to, you know, have so much hope for the first time in a while. Like it's been cool to see that. So not to skip ahead too much, but I know I'll forget this, so I'm just gonna say this now. So the new field being built here in Vegas for the Oakland Athletics that are now going to be the Las Vegas Athletics. They're apparently not building a parking lot for the stadium.
Oh, that's fun.
That is what an Uber driver told us. I totally wholeheartedly believe me. He has no reason to lie. But if you think about it, the area of land that they are utilizing for that does not big enough to house a parking lot either. And he said a lot of the locals are complaining about it. However, all the Uber drivers and taxi drivers are like, "This is the greatest thing ever," because they have to get picked up and dropped off for a game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought that was a wild statistic. So, let us know what you think about that. We'll see. I'm very excited to get a baseball team out here. I think it'll be really cool because I'm out here almost every year at the same time, and I would love to catch a baseball game. There's really, unless the Vegas Knights are in the playoffs, there's really no sports here while I'm here. So it'd be really cool to get the baseball team out here, and yeah. So, anyways, left turn back into the regular scheduled programming. The Memorial Tournament. Congratulations, Mr. Scottie Scheffler, on back-to-back Memorial Tournaments. It looked like he had a pretty good conversation with Jack after the tournament, which mostly it's a handshake, hello, and then moving on. And I think Jack is realizing the talent that Scottie carries and how big of an influence he is on the PGA as a whole. But what were your take on the tournament, man?
I thought it was a great tournament. Nice to see Scotty defend again. Going into the last day, anytime you see Scotty at the top of the leaderboard, it's just hard not to assume anymore.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, because
nuts.
he's playing at a different. I mean, he won by double again. He was 10 under, and I think second place was 5 under. He's winning at a just an incredible spread, and again, he's a fairly emotionless player until the very end when it counts, and you have players like Shane Houghton and Bryson DeChambeau that kind of wear their heart on their sleeve and show emotion the entire time, kind of like how I do when I golf. However, it's so much fun to watch him because even when he's not playing good, he's still playing good. Like
Yeah, he doesn't give back shots.
no, he does not. And just like I think it was the third round, he started off the round with like 12 pars in a row and then like almost birdied out. Just
Yeah.
and he was bogey free for the first 3 rounds. He might have been bogey free the whole damn tournament.
No, he bogeyed on Sunday for sure.
Okay, well then he was bogey free because they talked about it after the third round. He was bogey free for 3 rounds. And if we're wrong, this is the Hulaham Hour. You don't come here for stats, you come here for laughs. So, yeah. So my other thing on that, and I mentioned this to you in our pre-talk before we started. I there was a cut, and there were only I think 72 players in this field, and they only cut about 20 players. I understand from like a scheduling standpoint to get 2 guys on each hole and like get everybody done in a timely manner. But typically when there's a cut, it cuts over half of the field. I get a cut normally keeps the top 50, However, this just seemed kind of silly to me there was a cut at all. I know that the golf was hard enough as it was because what did you say the cut was? Wasn't it like +2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 over.
Yeah, which is kind of nuts.
I thought it was watching it. There was only 10 players under par on the second day. I'm like, no shit.
Yeah, which is nuts. I mean, that course there in Dublin, Ohio plays very difficult, But I just thought that was, I mean, cut line's +2, and they only cut 20 players. It's kind of like, just let these other guys play. What do you got to add another hour and a half onto your start times? Like,
no, you get to go home. If you can't make it in that small of a field, you deserve to go home.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
You got 120. Okay, well that's understandable. A bad couple days. It was only 76. You feel like a real asshole.
But there was the one day that it rained, almost the entire. I think it was the second round. It rained almost the whole day, and then the third round was windy as shit. It was a lot of factors into what makes it so that players just don't play very well. So, yeah. All right. We got the U.S. Open in 2 weeks. We got the Canadian Open this weekend. I know you mentioned last week that you really enjoy watching that tournament. Give us your favorite.
I like Nick Taylor.
Yeah,
I like the Canadian up there. He usually plays outstanding.
Yep, and he's been playing lights out lately. He has. He's been finishing top 10. Shit, he's been doing real good.
Nick Taylor's always a good choice there.
I don't really know who I got as a favorite. I need to look up and see who's actually playing this week.
I can't remember the last time Nick Taylor won. I think it was 2 years ago where Hadwin got tackled by security.
Oh, really?
You didn't see that?
No, I did not.
So they thought Adam Hadwin was a fan, and he was coming out. They're best friends. So security literally drilled him on the green.
Yes, I do remember that. Now that you're saying it,
hilarious. He's like, "Come on, man! I ain't won this year, but you ain't got to tackle me." That was when he won with that 72-foot putt.
Yes, yes, I do remember that now. Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how many big names are going to play a week before the Open.
Yeah. No, Cam Young's playing. It'd be a good one.
I could see Rory's been shooting rough. I could see him sitting out.
Yeah, he's not playing. He's not on the... Oh, no, Rory's on the list for a 7:40 a.m. tee time.
Oh, nice.
It is asterisked, which I don't know what that means. Asterisk means...
He starts on hole
player
10.
Player who started on the back 9. So Rory is in this. So I'm going to go ahead and call Rory because he's been struggling, and I think he really needs to figure something out before the U.S. Open. And I think it could help him. So I'll just take Rory. What the hell? I don't know. I should have looked before, but been very busy out here. So, yeah, this should be cool. The app doesn't show me the odds like the website does, and I don't have that pulled up because I don't have my dually screens this week. So, anyways, yeah, I'll take Rory. What the fuck? Okay. So, oh wait, here we go. Odds. Oh damn. Holy cow. Dude, these odds are crazy. They have no idea who the hell is going to win this. No clue. It won't let me sort by anything but name? Really? Huh, weird. Anyways, everybody has hellaciously high odds, like plus 12,000. Oh, Sam Burns is plus 2,800. Rory's the favorite at plus 450. Yep, Rory's the favorite at plus 450. Everybody else is like plus 10,000, dude. To be honest with you, I'd throw $10 on whoever you said, because it's
on it.
Dude, it's got to be like super up there. So cool. I think last week we did say who we wanted to win the U.S. Open, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember who I said, but I want Bryson to win. I just love seeing people do back to back. I love seeing the LIV golfers win PGA events and things like that too. So very intrigued to watch the U.S. Open next week. Looking forward to it. So on the U.S. Open front, Mr. Max Homa. My guy, I know you're going through it with your caddy situation and stuff. He even said after the qualifying round that he failed to qualify for the U.S. Open that he did not want to talk about his caddy situation at all. From what I understand, about 2 months ago, he fired his caddy his longtime caddy, and got partnered with a new caddy, and obviously nothing clicked, so he let that caddy go, and this man toted his own clubs for 36 holes, which is unbelievable, man. What are your thoughts on that, Nick?
That's dedication right there. It's not like these guys didn't grow up doing this forever.
Yep. Yeah, it's not that
he's not a caddy.
Yeah, it's not that he's not in shape enough or doesn't have the golf knowledge enough to get it done on his own. But yeah, I don't know. Thought that was kind of wild. However, he did have a putt, I believe, if I'm understanding correctly, to qualify for the Open. Missed it. Got in a 5-way tie with like Ricky Fowler and a few other guys, and I didn't even look to see who won that playoff.
I didn't either.
Let's see. Cam won. Cam Young.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was between Max Homa, Ricky Fowler, Eric Cole, and Chase Johnson.
So a lot of them guys will definitely be playing this week. They got one more tournament to get a win.
Yep, for sure. So, yeah, and Ricky's been playing some good golf lately, man. Like, he definitely has been coming back out of the woodwork, proving himself as a good golfer again. I really hope Ricky gets another victory soon. That would be cool. I think his last one was it last? Did he win the Rocket? It was 2 years ago he won the Rocket Classic, I
Yeah,
think.
it's been a while.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's been a minute. So, yeah, all right. I believe that wraps us up on the PGA. LIV this week, I do not believe there was a LIV tournament. I'm going to double check that so I'm not a liar. Because I think they're obviously in preparation again for some of their players that will be playing in the U.S. Open. Oh no, they do have a tournament this week. LIV Golf Virginia. Yeah, that is this week. June 6th through the 8th at Robert Trent Jones Golf Club. Yeah, that'll be fun. Make sure to tune in. I believe, who is it that has the rights to LIV for broadcasting?
I want to say TBS.
I think you're correct. Make sure to tune in and watch TBS, LIV Golf, 3 days. I believe it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And support LIV because we need to support both PGA and LIV as a golf community because we don't know when this merger is going to take place. As much as I'd love it to happen tomorrow, that ain't going to happen. So support both. All right. Moving right along here, man. We next two topics being NHL and NBA. Both conference finals have wrapped up. Nick, take the lead here on NHL. Fill us in, brother.
Well, unfortunately, they both sucked. I mean, I'm pretty happy with the hockey series, but God, I hope the finals are better.
God, you could not have said it any better. These conference finals in both leagues sucked. But continue.
I mean, Florida just looks absolutely outstanding right now.
Dominant.
And so does Edmonton. I mean, I think this is the right two teams to be playing, but holy crap, was that a shit show in the fucking conference finals.
Yeah, and it's a rematch from last season. Saw when Edmonton won their conference final that last year. Apparently, I did not know this, but none of the players, Nick, touched the trophy. Did you see this?
No.
Yeah, so they were all very superstitious about we don't want to touch the trophy. So they didn't. You can go back and look. There's footage. None of them picked it up off the table. None of them even went up and put their hand on it. This year they could have bent that trophy over. They all were touching it. They all were everywhere. It was funny as hell. So, kudos to the Edmonton Oilers. Connor McJesus looks freaking just lights out per usual. But like you said, the Florida Panthers, Bobrovsky's playing out of his mind. It's going to be another great finals. I think it's going to go 7 games. What do you think?
It should.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely should. This has the makings for another great series.
It does. And, again, no question at all. Top 2 teams in the NHL. 100%. It's just blatantly obvious. From the beginning, you go back and you see, the goal separation, the goal differential, all that. Definitely the best 2 teams in hockey. Very excited. I believe that starts tonight, correct?
Yeah, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, yeah. 8 o'clock
7.
Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. So, yeah, it's going to be starting in about an hour. Awesome sauce. Yep. Definitely, you called Florida weeks ago when the playoffs first started to win the whole thing. I'm sure you're not going to change from that. However, I think just for entertainment purposes here on the Hulaham Hour, I will take the Edmonton Oilers just because. I don't know, just so we have a little bit of back and forth on it and when we talk about it next week when there are a few games into the series. So it hurts my heart a little bit to have to pick Canada, but I just want a little bit of in-house rivalry here between Nick and I. All right. Yeah, like you said, Nick, to touch on what you just mentioned with the conference finals being so shitty, do you think that Edmonton and Florida are just that much superior of teams than they played, or do you just think that the? I guess I don't know. What's your take on why the games were so shit?
They were the better teams, but I don't think they're that much more superior to just literally shit on them like that. They got completely, Dallas did, they got completely out of their games.
Yeah.
Everything that made them get to that point all year, and don't get me wrong, it's a lot of credit to Florida and the way they play, but you got to find a way to impose your will. This is the playoffs.
Amen. And
And they were not able to do it at all.
like Dallas looked just, to be honest, I'm surprised they made it back to the conference finals again for what, like the third year in a row or whatever. They just didn't look good. Like their goal differential was terrible and they barely led games. And the fact that they were even there, I'm like, dude, this is just not even entertaining. It's just not even entertaining. They kind of gave up. I mean, it was, I don't know. You're totally right, and I'm glad you brought that up because they were not good. They were just not good games. So, hopefully, optimistically speaking, that the NHL Finals will be very good, entertaining games, and I have no doubts in my mind that they will be. So let's just real quick look up the betting odds there. Let's see what we got. So, NHL series winner. So it looks like the Edmonton Oilers are the favorite at minus 120, and Florida Panthers are at plus 100. So it's pretty freaking dead nuts odds on who they're favoring. Tonight's game, same odds. Got Florida at plus 100 and Edmonton at minus 120. So I'm still gonna root for Florida because I just want to see the American team win, and I'd like to see them go back to back. I think that'd be super cool.
And one thing they were kind of talking about earlier, that hockey just isn't like a lot of other sports. Pretty much all the best players ever have a cup. Where
Yes.
at the NBA, baseball, not so much. You might have
Yeah.
been on a crappy team for a long time. A lot of them guys go in without a championship, but in hockey, the best always seem to have a cup.
Yeah, there's no Dan Marinos of the NHL.
None. That's actually one of the names they used.
Yeah, there's really not. There's just truly, truly, truly not. Yeah, that's a very good point, Nick. There's no Dan Marinos in the NHL, ladies and gentlemen. Fun fact
No.
here on the Hulaham Hour.
So
Love it.
Connor McDavid, he's done everything in his career. They won the Four Nations. He's ready to punch his ticket.
Yep, for sure. So good luck to both teams. As long as it's exciting, I could give a shit who wins. So
It should be. They both are high scoring.
yeah, for sure. Okay, anything else on the NHL front this week, bro?
Did you see the handshake thing?
I did not.
The Panthers coach was giving Rob Brindamore, saying coaches shouldn't be shaking hands in the shake line. What a sour bastard.
No shit. What a little bitch.
Rob Brindamore has been a player. Like, he loves that.
Yeah,
That's
like,
hockey. You go kill each other for 2 weeks and then you shake hands.
yeah, dude. That's just you are mortal sworn enemies until the series is over, and then you guys all do the same thing for a living. Like, you all support the same thing.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of wild to hear.
Yeah, that is. I don't know, man. It's everybody else is. Every league kind of has that little bit of like complaining, like the one player from one of the teams that lost in the NBA playoffs saying, "Well, if we just got an extra day in between games, you guys would get a lot better games." No, maybe you should just condition more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that goes to show the biggest difference, though, between having a coach that was a player. He lived and died on the ice.
Yep. Yep.
I mean,
100%.
don't get me wrong, these coaches are there, but they're not living and dying out there like these guys did for 20 years.
Nope, not at all. So, yeah. Well, either way, very excited. NHL Finals. We should be about 3 or 4 games in by next week. No, maybe like 2 or 3, probably.
Yeah.
2 or 3 games in by next week, so we should have some more to report next week. All right, moving right along here to the NBA Conference Finals. Team I picked, still in it, OKC, facing the Indiana Pacers. Ooh, it's good to see the Pacers back in the finals. It's been a minute since they have been. I don't think they've been this exciting since Reggie Miller played for them. However, Nick, give me your take. Give me your favorite. Who you got?
Let's lead off with something else you want to talk about doing well for the first time in a long time. How about the Knicks not being there in 20 years and firing their freaking coach?
Yeah, dude.
You can't even win and keep your job anymore. Like, that absolutely blows my mind.
That is the best statement that we said this whole episode, dude, is that you can't even win and keep your job. Like that's an
I've been there since
insane thing.
2000.
That shouldn't even be a sentence. Like that shouldn't even be. Yeah, this man came to New York and helped them get to the conference finals and gets shunned right out of town. I don't know. Maybe it seems like when these things happen that something else comes out afterwards, like stupid shit. However, I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure he'll land another job. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's not like he went 12-70, you know. So,
But I
yeah.
did see earlier he got fired when he was in Minnesota with Karl Anthony Towns. He got
Yeah.
fired in New York with Karl Anthony Towns. So I don't know if that's got something to do with it,
Maybe
but
Karl Anthony Towns. Maybe homeboy fucked Karl Anthony Towns woman or something.
dude, if I'm Thibodeau, I'm staying the fuck away from that guy. He's ruining my
No
career.
kidding, man. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
out of here.
Pretty wild, man. Pretty wild. So, all right. So, a couple things. I have a stat here that is going to solidify my pick pretty much, and why OKC is going to win this year. Nick, do you know OKC's record versus the East this year?
No, I don't.
29-1. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna sweep the Pacers, but like 4-2 at the worst. Like I just I don't see this series going 7 games. Yes, Indiana's playing well, but OKC is just they're a quicker paced team. They're a younger team. Uh, I guess the only real advantage is the Pacers coach has a lot of experience. I'm drawing a blank on his name currently.
Carlisle.
Thank you. Getting a little heat stroke out here. But yeah, man, it's going to be exciting. I would love to see it go 7 games. I doubt it's going to. They can 5, 6 at the most, like I said. How many? What do you think?
I think they got to split one of these first two in OKC. If they go down 0-2, I just don't see them getting out of that hole.
No, it's going to be a very tough
they,
hole.
They got to split these first two.
Yep, totally agree with you on that.
I don't care if it's by a buzzer beater behind his back on accident. They got to get one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. And like you said, if they don't, it's a tough hill to climb when you go down 0-2, whether you're at home or away or this, that, the other. So if they go down 0-2, it's definitely going to be almost impossible for them to win. But I guess that goes both ways because the way that these, like, again, kind of back with the NHL, these NBA conference finals, they weren't very good games. Like, one game, I think, OKC won, what, 4-1?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Like, it was, and they were blowouts. Like, it wasn't even like there was a couple of close games, but for the most part, it was always, like, even when the Knicks won a few games against the Pacers, like, they were winning by 30. Like, and that has nothing to do with the NBA or the way the playoffs are ran or anything. It was just not entertaining. I don't know. It just was just too many blowouts. So, very optimistic that. What's that?
What I'm curious to see tonight is, do you know Oklahoma's playoff stats? They're 8-1 at home, holding their opponents to under 100 points a game right now. So I think Game 1's going to be a hell of a gut shot for Indy, and let's see how they bounce.
Yeah, because if they do you know the stats that they give up more than 100?
Well, they've only had one loss at home, so obviously not terrible.
Gotcha. Yeah, true that.
If you're giving up under 100, odds are their team ain't scoring under 100 very often.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true, man. Yeah, very excited. Conference finals again, or not conference finals, but the NBA finals. Hopefully, will be a lot more exciting than the conference finals, where I have nothing but optimistic thoughts about that. So, getting very excited about that. Yeah, one more NBA headline is, I guess it's been obviously publicized for a while, but TNT is no longer going to be the home of NBA, which is a little bit saddening news. Charles Barkley really voiced his opinion, kind of like Terry Bradshaw did about Aaron Rodgers last week. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the transition from TNT to ESPN?
As long as they air and mount the same amount of games, all this thing is just a change of money between hands, between companies.
Well,
let's come down to anymore.
ESPN does not do post-game shows.
No.
They just don't. And the show they're absorbing is a post-game show. So I just don't understand the ideology behind it, because a lot of ESPN's content now is so freaking cringy to watch. They're trying way too freaking hard to reach to a younger demographic when that's not even the demo that's watching their programs. So it doesn't make, but they've also, ESPN just as a whole, ever since Disney acquired them, they've not been ESPN. They've gone downhill in viewership. They've gone downhill in the fact that they've canned so many high-profile, long-tenured employees and sportscasters and announcers and personalities and all that. And now, like, I don't understand. Like, they don't even get everybody in a studio for shit anymore. It's just like me and you right now.
Yeah.
Like, there's no production quality in it anymore. If we here at the Hulaham Hour have as much production quality as ESPN does, and that's terrible. I mean, we're good at what we do. They should be shades above what we're doing. Shades above what we're doing, and they're not. So, I don't know, man. I just think, I don't want to see ESPN ever go away, because they've been the home of sports my entire life. But they definitely need to have a wake-up call. And I don't know if they're ever going to be able to have that wake-up call being under the umbrella of Disney. As much as I love Disney as a company for my kid and all the movies they make and shit, it's just going to be a very, very tough hill to climb for ESPN to get out of the hole that they've created for themselves. So best of luck to you. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. I guess we'll see. Like I said, Charles Barkley, watched the first episode and pretty much just came out on social media and was like, "You guys are morons. you guys are just absolute idiots if you think this is gonna work." So we'll see. We shall see. All right. Anything else in the NBA this week, bro?
Nope.
All right. Moving right along. Okay, moving into the MLB. Tigers, still the best team of ball. Bro, fill us in on your thoughts with the Tigers so far this year, man. It's been crazy.
Dude, they're playing great right now. They're hitting the ball pretty well. Their average is starting to get back down a little bit, and they're hitting average, but our starting pitching is looking really good. We could use another starter at the deadline. You can never have enough starters.
Who'd you go and get?
See, I don't know. There's a lot out there. I think like a Blake Snell type. Yeah, he just signed in LA, not him, but somebody who'd be not your ace, but a second or third.
Sure.
We got Scooble. We don't need another ace. We don't need
God, no. Yeah, we don't. No, this isn't like a Detroit Lions, Aiden Hudson, Trey Hendrickson situation.
Yeah,
no. We don't need that. Yeah. To be honest, back in the day, like watching baseball growing up and stuff, any team that had those two aces like that, they just lacked in other areas to the point that it made them a worse team.
Yeah, you can only spend so much.
Correct.
Well, baseball, not so much, but you can spend whatever you want.
Yeah, true.
Look at the Dodgers. Look at the Yankees.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of sad. I wish they'd fix that.
The Dodgers have like 6 starting pitchers that would be like a number 2 on everybody else.
Any other team.
Yeah. Yeah, this is our 5 guy that we put on the bench for a week.
Oh, shoot. Okay. So, with that being said, yeah, Tigers are killing it. Scooble's on pace to win another Cy Young. If he's not the best pitcher in baseball, he's definitely the best lefty. There's not many left-handed pitchers that can throw 100 miles an hour, and he's one of them. It's an incredible feat. Was it Carpenter, I think, had 3 home runs in one game last week?
Gary Carpenter?
Yes. Yeah, he did. He had 3 home runs in one game.
Yeah, they're hitting well.
Yeah, they're killing it, dude. You get 3 home runs in one game in MLB The Show 25. That's a feat, dude. And he did it in actual real life baseball. It's crazy. Super nuts. All right, I guess I got one more MLB statistic this week so far. Shohei Ohtani is currently on pace for 64 home runs this year, which in modern baseball, for a player to break 60 home runs is almost as impressive as when Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa were hitting over 70. So, what are your thoughts on Ohtani?
Well, he did it without drugs, like both the guys you just named. So, I mean, it's even more impressive.
Yeah.
And he's not that big of a guy. He's just got such a pure swing.
It's his whole batting stance and everything, dude. He's a once-in-a-generation player. 100%. I'm very excited to see him become a dual-threat player again. I really think once he does that, it'll get him back into more of a rhythm, too, and maybe he'll even play better. Who knows? So, Yeah, very exciting. Yeah. Okay. So wrap it up here on the Hulaham Hour for this week. However, we do have one more hats off thing we'd like to say. Um, One of my favorite shows growing up on ESPN is no longer. Around the Horn had its final episode. I think it was about 2 weeks ago. I think it was the end of May, or maybe it was last
Yep.
week. Just want to hats off to the over 20 years of service that Around the Horn gave us. Woody Page, such a gangster, such an absolute gangster for such a long time. I told you, Nick, that I kind of felt that that was such a staple program for ESPN, that was one that would never die, kind of like The Simpsons. Um, what's your take on Around the Horn saying its bye-byes?
I think they made another mistake there.
Yeah.
I come home, I watch Around the Horn, and watch PTI, and you're more caught up in the sports world while working all day than you ever could be. And
It's very
such
true.
great people on that show, and having Tony
Yeah,
Reale as a host has
yeah.
just been amazing.
Tony Reale was one of the best show hosts, period, in any sort of television entertainment for a very long time. He brought so much stuff to the table. Did you see his video when they were explaining scoring and stuff? His like
Oh,
sign
yeah.
off video. Oh my god, that was so comical. I absolutely loved that. That was the cherry on top of finishing it. However, PTI is still currently going, correct?
Yeah, but them guys are getting old, too.
Not even that. Anybody can run that show. They can. It won't be the same without, the two guys that have been doing it forever.
Yeah,
However, and they could have honestly, even if Tony Reale wanted to retire and move on and do something different, which I don't think that was the case. I just think they were making so many wrong moves at ESPN that now we lost one of the best programs on television, especially related to sports, and it's very sad to see. So, maybe one day we start a series on here on the Hulaham Hour, like like Around the Horn, where we get a couple of guests on, especially during fantasy football season. And we just play a game like that, man. We could totally do that. I would love that. So, yeah, let us know in the comments if you'd like to see some Around the Horn type action here. So, all right. Well, we actually flew through this pretty good, Nick. We had a lot of freaking news in the sports world this week, man, and we cooked along. So, you got anything else this week, bro?
No, man, I don't.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us. Apologies if the wind was causing any feedback and things like that, but I think we got a pretty quality episode this week. So, with that being said, we'll see you next week. Hulaham out.